like when I lost my friend and everything in my arms, it really put me in a position where I feel like I was fucking up all the time. Like anything, I always had people on my back telling me, it's like, oh, I wish you would have died. So that put me in a negative mindset, and I was like, you know what, like maybe I'm not good for nothing. Right. So like when I started reading the subconscious mind, it like something clicked. Like it was like like started looking life in a different perspective. Wow. It's like there's like a hole. Like if you fall in a hole, like either you can dig out, like, or dig up or something, like just try to get out, or just try to jump to get out of that hole. But in my mind, like I seen the hole, and I just like I seen it like a piece of paper. Like if I drew it, like okay, there's a hole, but also if I turn it, it's a way out.
Welcome back to the podcast. Today we have a very special guest. Our guest has gone through significant personal and intergenerational trauma. He was born into a cycle of violence both in the streets and at home. But in spite of all this adversity, he has broken free of the past and is now on a journey of self-healing. He's now an activist for human and animal rights. Welcome to the podcast, Rob Lopez.
Hello. What's up?
Thank you, Rob, for being here.
Yeah, thank you for being here.
I appreciate y'all having me.
Yeah, I heard a lot about you, so I'm glad we got to meet you. But I know you're doing some big things. We always like to start, though, with getting to know you, to know your story, your upbringing, all that. So tell us a little bit about your upbringing, how you grew up and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, so I was born in Michoacán, Mexico.
Michoacán? Oh, okay.
Born in September.
Okay.
27.
When did you come to the United States from Michoacán?
When I was 4 years old.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, basically running away from my father. Father was an alcoholic, would beat my mother to the point that my mom was just tired trying to give us a better life.
Okay.
Since then, like I ended up moving to California, and when I moved to California, my father was in and out of our lives. So my mom would still want to have a relationship with my father for us, for the kids and stuff. So she would still like talk to them. So we ended up moving around with him for a while, and then we ended up in Texas. Then we came back to California because my father ended up beating my mom again.
Oh wow!
To the point that she was like gushing out blood from her face. And,
oh my gosh!
And my older brother was the one that turned my father in to the police because he was like 15 years old and he called the police. He didn't know what to do. 15-year-old kid doesn't know how to react to that. So
trying to save his mom.
Definitely. And so my sister and I ended up in a foster home because my older brother ended up moving to California after that. And he was only 15. My sister and I were super young as well. And like we about ended up in a foster home.
Yeah. So how old were you when you had to go into the foster home?
Around 7 years old.
7 years old.
Yeah.
And how old was your sister?
She's younger than me. She's about 7 years younger. So maybe like
Man, she
4.
was a baby.
Yeah, 2. Yeah,
wow.
Or so.
How long were you guys in there?
Maybe for about a year till my mother recovered and everything, and she was able to like move out on her own and like move back to California.
What part of California were you guys in?
Delhi, California.
Delhi. I've heard of that, but where's that at?
By Merced County.
Okay, so Central Valley.
Yeah, Central Valley.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So you pretty much were raised in the Central Valley.
Yeah. Like we moved to California, and then the same thing happened again. My mom was just talking to my father again, and my father came again to California and picked us up. This time he ended up moving us all the way to Georgia.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. So
how old were you when you moved to Georgia?
I was 9.
9 years old.
Yeah.
Okay. So started in Michoacán, and then your mom wanted to protect you guys. So she took off and you came to the United States, came to California, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But then obviously she wanted to try to work it out so you guys could have a relationship with your dad, right? But that didn't work out.
No.
But then it kept going. Then you ended up in Georgia at 9 years old. What was that like going from West Coast California to Southern Georgia at like 9 years old?
Honestly, at first I was very happy as a child.
Okay.
It was very different because I didn't know my father like that. When I first met him and everything, like it was a weird connection. So like being in California was like my happy place. Like that's really where I felt happy, and I was actually living a childhood.
Okay.
So moving to Georgia, that really changed my life because I wasn't happy anymore.
Right.
You know, like I was in fear. I would hate, you know, seeing my father because I would get threatened or get beat by him for no reason sometimes. You know, it would suck. So like it was a big change. It was a big change. Like I ended up falling into depression as a kid, I think.
Yeah.
And you know, it was very different.
Wow. And so you know, when was it that you started to kind of be on your own?
Like being on my own as an individual.
Kind of like when you were in Georgia. When did you kind of start feeling your place? Like,
I think middle school.
Middle school.
Yeah, middle school. I you know, just growing up, my father ended up like getting deported just because his choices in life.
Yeah. And how old were you when this happened?
Around 12 years old.
Okay, so that was only pretty much 3 years with your dad, and then pretty much he was gone. And what was that feeling like when your dad? Was it kind of sad? Was it like bittersweet?
It was bittersweet.
Yeah.
At the same time, it was sad because he loved me.
Yeah.
And I know he did, and he just didn't know how to express it.
Yeah, they say hurt people, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Especially the closest people are around him.
Yeah, exactly, right. So now you're 12, you said, right? And your dad gets deported, and then what happened next?
After that, we ended up like living in a one bedroom home for a while.
Okay.
Because like when all that happened before my father got deported, we were houseless because we ran away from him. And like I said, my mom and dad would always talk, so they would just keep getting together. And then one day he finally got tired. That happened, got deported, and so we ended up living in this bedroom house for like, it was, let's see, my older brother, my sister, and my 2 little brothers. So it's like 4 kids and my mother.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's 6 of us all together.
So when did your older brother rejoin you guys? Because you said he went to California by himself, right?
Yeah. When my father came and picked us up again in California.
Okay, so he was, how much older is he than you?
He's 32, 33, so I'm 27.
So he's like 5 years older?
Yeah, 5, 7.
Oh, so he was almost like 18 when he moved back there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was very different, especially because my father and him didn't get along too much.
Yeah, I can imagine because he was the oldest boy too.
Yeah.
Right. Was it like like a who's the man of the house kind of fight, or?
No, it was basically like, you know, respect each other type of thing.
Okay, got it.
My brother didn't really bother him or nothing, unless it was like something that he had to interfere or had to say something that wasn't right.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Did you guys have any family in California or anywhere in the United States?
Yeah, we have most of our family in California, but in Georgia we had no family. Yeah, we were just separated all from our family. Like we were just on our own.
Yeah, so I mean, I know I've been to Georgia before, and or at least Atlanta, right? That area. What was it like? Like, I mean, was it diverse? Was it like, were you one of the few Latinos there? Growing up,
it was diverse, but also like growing up, a lot of racism. You know, a lot of racism. I've never experienced that until I moved to Georgia. So like it was kind of weird, you know. And then it became normal, like, you know, just being around that.
Racism against all ethnicities?
Yeah, all ethnicities. It was basically like I remember having a friend when I was in elementary school in 4th grade, and one day he's calling me a beaner. I'm like, whoa.
You're like, what the heck?
Yeah, I was like, I've never experienced that before.
You're like, in California, I'm just normal, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's crazy.
So it was very different.
Yeah. So like now, you know, after your dad leaves, you know, how'd your life kind of start to go forward after that?
Well, it was still a little hectic just because like my mom was a single mother, you know, raising 5 kids.
Wow. Yeah.
On her own, so she's you know, just seeing her struggle a lot, and then my older brother like getting into the streets himself, and just started like to, you know, support the family, and you know, the cycles that we fall into, especially in capitalism and stuff like that. It puts us in becoming a product of our own environment.
Right. Basically, you need to make money some way.
Yeah.
Right.
So he ended up being in the streets at around, I think, 14 or so. Like it was just off and on. Around 14, yeah. Like he ended up getting caught up with some things, and he ended up going to prison.
How long was he sent go to prison for?
4 years.
Okay. So yeah. So I mean, I just want to share a story. So my cousin got into trouble around 14. Right. He joined gangs, and he went to prison at 14, and they gave at 15 years old. They gave him a 13-year sentence.
Oh, wow.
So like almost the amount of time he was alive.
Yeah.
He got that much of a sentence. So what had happened was my cousin used to go to Jubilee Church.
Mm-hmm.
So when my cousin moved to the west side to try to get out of trouble, which is ironic, he ended up getting into more trouble over here. Yeah. This is where he got into gangs, right? And so the weird thing was those pastors that were taking care of my cousin, because my cousin was like in a boys group, they got accused of molesting boys.
Whoa. That's crazy.
Yeah. So the same lawyer that was representing the pastors was representing my cousin.
Wow.
When he found out my cousin was one of the boys that those pastors were under their care, he backed out of the trial. And then my aunt and uncle could not afford lawyers, so he got the maximum sentence.
Yeah.
So at 15 years old, he got a 13-year sentence.
That's crucial.
Yeah. And, and we'll get back to you because it's not about me, but I just wanted to share that because I kind of understand what happened to your brother, because they try to get you into the system, mm-hmm. and they want to keep you there.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? So what happened to your brother when he went to prison?
I mean, he got caught up, he got out, bonded out, got a lawyer. But during the time before then, before he went to prison, he was already like preparing me to be like, yo, like you got to be the man of the house.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So like at I think I was 14, 15. Yeah, 15. He's like, as soon as you turn 16, you have to drop out of school. Like you're gonna have to like help out your mom.
You're gonna have to make money. Yeah.
Yeah, like basically get a job. Like we need to figure something out. And it was a big change. Like it was just very different because like I was already depressed.
Yeah. And
then like even more like depression added on as a kid. It's like I didn't know how to react to that.
Yeah.
Was he a green card holder at that time?
No, he didn't. He was my older brother.
Yeah.
He was still like undocumented and stuff.
Okay. The reason I asked, my older brother got in trouble too, and we're both green card holders. And when you get in trouble in America and you're not an American citizen, they're really hard on you.
Yeah.
So you get in trouble, especially when it comes to like
it's crazy because of the drugs, of course. And like that time that he got pulled over, it was my little brother and I, and when we were together, like the police were asking him, like, where's the things, like basically let's set him up, like that's crazy, like they were already tracking shit down.
Crooked cops already.
It's everywhere. And so that happened, and then I ended up meeting the mayor of Georgia, like Sonny Perdue.
Weird.
It was so weird, right? Yeah. And just seeing them, how they interact together, the police and the mayor, how they're so, so good friends and stuff. So it was kind of weird seeing that, but also like seeing how like they would allow an undocumented woman take a taxi just to come and pick up the kids 2 hours away from where they were living.
Oh, wow.
It's like instead of helping them out. It's like, it's crazy.
Yeah, they would make them pay for the taxi and all that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. So, like, he was telling me I had to drop out of school. And, like, as soon as he told me that, like, I was like, okay, then what the hell am I trying? Like, why am I even going to school? So I started skipping. I was like, okay, like, I don't need to finish school. I'm going to drop out anyway. So what's the whole point?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up skipping a lot. I ended up dropping out when I was 16, got a job. And it's been a while since then too, like working, and then just working for like $125 a week or like $200 a week, working at a car wash.
Yeah, like busting your butt, right?
Yeah, and like during the time, my mother ended up like getting diagnosed with like some type of cancer on her chest.
To hear about that, yeah. So breast cancer, was it, or
no? It was like going towards that. It was just like some type of growth that popped out on her chest, and she had to stop working for like a whole year.
Oh my gosh.
So everything fell on me.
Yeah.
I was
How old were you then?
I was 16.
Dang. So 16, you literally became the man of the house.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So like as soon as that happened, I ended up working. I had my mom. I had to take care of her. I had to take care of her the rent, everything. Paying for school supplies for my brothers and sister. Just stuff like that. Just like as a kid, it was just very weird. Not having a childhood. I wanted to play football. I wasn't able to. Not having insurance. Being from Mexico like really limited me so much. It's like the opportunities that I was able to have and stuff like that. So it was pretty harsh. Like
you were forced to grow up very fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So since then, I just I don't know. It was just like when he went to prison and everything. It was just very weird for me because that really taught me a lot. It's like on being the person that I am now.
So what kind of lessons did you learn from that? Was like, I don't want to be like that, or
just like breaking those cycles too, okay. Like even though I fell into those cycles because of my environment, like just learning how to like be more positive out of stuff,
Yeah.
Instead of like being so negative and being so flashy, instead of like when you have all that currency in your hands or like all that abundance, like it's better to not engage in those things because you only bring negativity towards you,
Right.
And then it was just weird.
How did you find like any joy, any excitement during those times? Anything you were excited about doing,
Honestly, when I started making music, like my older brother was making music before I was, so he was my role model.
Okay.
Like in music, like I wanted to be like him.
Okay.
Like just like him. I was like, yo, he has money, like I want to be like him.
Right.
It's like
he was making music. He was in the streets, right, making money. So you kind of like were like, man,
it's like,
that's the life I want.
It's like, oh damn, it's like this guy's really doing it,
Yeah.
Especially just like having all that around. I was like, okay, cool, it's like, I can be like that. But also like when he went to prison, like that taught me a lot too. Is like not to be like that,
right? Yeah.
And it was just it put me in a position where I ended up being in that environment still because of the way that my surroundings and stuff.
Yeah,
like
I mean, you almost kind of had to.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
just to like get by, especially being a young kid, like not having a lot, coming to you. You're 16. You're trying to do so much, but you can only do so much.
Right.
Yeah. And especially me, like I didn't know what the hell I was doing most of the time. I was like just kind of winging it, and then also I felt like I could. Just make it happen. I thought I knew everything.
Yeah. Did you think that taught you something? Kind of.
Yeah, it taught me to be humble.
Okay.
To be humble and be gentle with myself.
Okay.
And just,
that's important, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially you said gentle with yourself, because a lot of men, they don't like to be. Just people in general are so hard on themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to cry. Like I used to cry myself to sleep as a kid.
Wow.
Like I didn't want to live that life. I was like, I used to look at myself in the mirror. I'm like, why do I live like this? Why isn't my life like this? Like, why can't I change everything? And I would get so frustrated. So like, it taught me to be calm, be patient, especially like having, different people around me always like hyping me up and being more positive.
Yeah.
And just like, hey, you can do it. Keep going.
Who were those positive role models in your life?
Just like coworkers or older people that I've met around, like, one of the persons, it was like my friend Sean from like where I used to work at his car wash. He said like, slowly but surely, man, slowly but surely, you get there.
Yeah.
When you said to be gentle with yourself, what were you doing when you're being hard on yourself?
I tell myself that I'm messing up all the time.
The self-talk then. Okay.
I'll be especially like like having your mother screaming or something like that, like, oh, you're stupid, you're not doing things right. But it's like you kind of like sink those things in, especially like not being aware of your subconscious and conscious mind, and like it really engraves inside you. And as you get older, you start building up this insecurities. So that's what I felt, insecure at the moment. And it was very weird. Like I didn't know who to talk to. I didn't know how to talk to anyone about the things that I was going through. Like I felt alone. It's been really weird just growing up.
Yeah, you didn't really have any mentors or examples.
Yeah, no guidance.
Yeah, and I mean, your mom was doing the best she could, but
Yeah,
I mean,
She was what she
all,
know.
yeah,
Yeah.
and always working, so
Yeah.
she was
Mhm.
hardly there.
yeah, 5 kids, and you know, she had to help out,
Yeah,
put food on the table. You know what I mean?
definitely.
So, you became the man of the house. You helped your mom, so she got better.
Yeah, she got better.
That's cool. And then was she proud of you, kind of like for taking over when she was sick?
I mean, I think so. You
Yeah,
know,
that's good.
I think so. I hope so.
Yeah, I'm sure she was. Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, she's doing good now. You know, like she recovered, but you know, she's doing her thing now.
Okay. So what were you doing like to try to help the family? Like how were you supporting everybody?
I was basically like just working.
Working.
Yeah, working.
Yeah.
Just like I was so above. Like when my brother went to prison, I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna smoke. I'm not gonna do none of that. And like I wasn't. I will rap about the things that I'm rapping about now
Yeah.
Mhm.
as a kid. And then like I said, like I fell into the environment. So like a whole like toxicity and
Yeah.
stuff like that ended up happening. So yeah, I ended up like basically like rapping about like, you know, I'm working my ass off and like,
Yeah.
you know, I'm a you know, put my mom in top of the hill, you know, like
Yeah.
a nice house and stuff like that. And that really motivated me a lot. I don't
Mhm.
know why, just rapping, like when I was like after my brother went to prison, like I was like, you know what, like I'm gonna make music to keep myself out of trouble.
Okay.
It's kind of like affirmations, but
Yeah.
in music,
It is,
right?
it is.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
'cause
you repeat it.
Motivational.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's like subconsciously you engrave that in your
Yeah,
mind. you know?
absolutely.
So your music is kind of what saved you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when did you start doing music again?
I think I was 15,
Okay.
16 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what did it start with? What kind of music?
Trap, like basically what my brother was talking about, you know, it's like you know, I got my gun, this
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that,
yeah.
you know, money this, money that.
Well, you knew, right?
Yeah.
Well, at least you were living it instead of just
Mhm.
rapping about something you never lived.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And when did your music evolve into something else?
It evolved basically a year ago.
A year ago.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah, like like to the toxicity or like to the positive.
Maybe from the trap to like just to take it through the stages. Like,
Okay.
has it
Yeah.
always been trap or?
Yeah, it was trap for like since I was 16 all the way to I was 21.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So like 5 years.
Yeah, 5 years straight. And then like during those times, like I was opening up for artists, I was doing shows, I was sneaking myself into the club,
Oh, that's
you know.
yeah.
and
Oh,
stuff
because
like-
you probably weren't even old enough to get in there.
Yeah, I was like 16, 17 years
Oh,
old,
wow.
not even 18 yet, and like opening up for artists and stuff like that. So
That's pretty awesome.
yeah, I was doing shows like back to back. Like I would work and then like go like right after work. I'm like, okay, I got this talent, not a talent show, but it's like some type of screening,
Mhm.
and I will perform and like I will win some contests and some contests I wouldn't.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool.
Yeah. So any big name artists you opened up for that?
I opened up for an OG Latino Hispanic rapper, Kid Frost,
Oh, I know Kid Frost.
MC Magic,
Okay.
Cap G,
Okay.
a couple of different artists that I don't. Let's see.
Well, Kid Frost is pretty big.
Yeah,
I remember him.
it's an
Yeah.
old school hip hop. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think that was pretty solid for
Yeah.
me too.
So was it trap with like a Latino influence?
Yeah, like it's like I was put some Spanglish in there.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kind
so-
of like
Right.
Kid Frost and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah, definitely. And then as I was opening up for like other people, like one of this friend that I had in Atlanta, his name was Scoot Versetti. He pulled me to the side one day. He's like, "Yo, it's like I know I get it that you love rapping, you know, about your culture and everything, but hey, bro, like everybody's struggling out here, man. It's like not just you, and
Yeah.
not just your people, bro. We all struggling. So, you know, it's like be universal. You know, like step outside that box.
Oh,
Be
okay.
universal. I like
Mhm.
that.
So he gave you the mentorship to
Yeah,
get a
yeah.
bigger
Mhm.
audience.
Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely. Especially because like I've never had nobody like talk to me like that, like pull me to the side, like, hey, bro, like you really got something going on for
Yeah.
yourself. Like you really you have that ambition, you know, like
Mhm.
to make something happen for yourself.
Yeah. So he saw some talent and some ambition and some drive in you. He wanted to
Mhm.
help you.
Yeah, especially like just like seeing my grind, you know, like just on constantly like just working
Yeah.
and doing shows and opening up for people and like releasing music videos and stuff like that as a kid. So it's pretty.
So what came from that when he said be universal? What did you take from that?
I just took it and ran with it. You know, like I stopped like just talking about like the things that everybody like not not just like my people, but like I started looking into what everybody's struggling about. You know, like everybody has single mothers. Everybody has like a father that's not been there, or just like kind of just be more open to people and like like make them feel like with their soul. You know, like and just have people more engaged with my stuff. And just just being able to like talk to other like to other people, because it's like we're all we have to help each other out some way in some type of way. So yeah, I ended up just collabing with other people, doing more shows in different areas that I never thought I was. Instead of car shows, I would go to the clubs now, and from the clubs I would go to cafes. From cafes, I will go to like screenings and stuff like that. I will go to like music festivals and stuff like that too. So it was pretty cool.
All right, so talk about the festivals.
Okay, so basically when I was performing at these festivals, it was pretty cool, just interacting with other artists that are upcoming and seeing their upcoming too, and just like seeing how they're working. It was pretty cool, just like having a versatile group of people around me, and just having like people from Europe, the UK, China, and then like Atlanta, and then other places in the United States that will come to these festivals and just interact. Like I met choreographers, directors that I've never thought I was gonna interact with, and it opened up a lot of doors. As a kid.
Yeah. Any like very important people that you met during that time that have influenced your life to this point?
Yeah, my old manager, his name was Strick.
Okay.
He used to make music, but his real name is Mark.
Okay.
And then Danny Wright, he passed away. DJ Dirty D as a kid, and yeah, they really helped me out, to really polish myself up as an artist and really keep pushing forward. Like always giving me criticism with everything. Always being real, even if it hurts my feelings.
Yeah,
it was
pushing you to be better. You know?
to get to my full potential.
Yeah. So when do you think you reach your full potential in music, or you think you haven't gotten there yet?
I think I'm getting there.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this year right here is like finally got something that I'm very proud of, especially with the things that I'm working on.
So what's your music? What has it evolved to now? Like,
so I ended up from like talking about consumerism. I ended up talking about dismantling the system now. Capitalism. I talk about anti-racism stuff. Anti-white supremacy, things like that. Talking about the animals, human rights, all those things.
It's probably a perfect time for your music right now because of everything that's going on.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like a perfect timing, pretty much. Like,
yeah, it's pretty cool because like now like I actually have a group of people that really support me, a real solid support team.
And who are those people?
The community that I've been around, like the vegan community.
Yeah.
Nice.
Vegan community is pretty awesome.
Yeah, they really show love.
Yeah.
I'm like, hell yeah, I appreciate y'all.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that since you mentioned it. So how did you become vegan? How'd you get on that journey?
Well, veganism, like my best friend, basically she would like, we were at Buffalo Wild Wings one day,
And I remember that. I used to go there all the time. Yeah.
And she's like, hey, it's like, I've been watching these documentaries and stuff like that, and I really want to go vegan.
Yeah.
And I was like, for real? That's like, I never heard about that at all. That's the first time I ever heard of that.
Was this in Atlanta?
Yeah, in Atlanta. Okay. So I'm like, okay. So I'm like, she started explaining all these things to me. I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm like, shit, if you do it, I'll do it with you. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So since then, like it took time, to transition to like full, like not consuming no animal products.
Yeah, it's a process.
Yeah. So it was pretty cool, like from there. And then like, I think that like a few weeks later, my mom and my sister like about passed away on like the same week. It was really,
sorry to hear about that.
It was really impactful for me because it's like, as I was learning about veganism, I was mostly learning about the health side, like
Right.
about like detoxifying your body, your pineal gland, your colon, all these things, boosting your immune system, things that, like we never knew. I started learning about anatomy,
Yeah.
like,
Anatomy?
yeah, anatomy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. And that was pretty interesting to me, seeing how like our mind works, our body works, how our body sends signals to our body telling us when something is wrong.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, you
Sure.
think about food coma.
Yeah.
Like your body is telling you, like,
It's
I
like,
ate too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, don't feed me no more.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
a lot of people get used to that. I was used to that growing
Yeah.
up. Like, oh, it's normal. You ate a big, heavy meal.
Yeah.
But no, it's not normal.
Yeah.
You shouldn't feel that way. Food is supposed to be medicine.
Yeah, and basically like feed you energy. That's
Yeah.
what that's really what it's supposed to be too. And it's crazy.
Yeah. And then speaking about like family members passing away. So both my grandfathers died very young at
Oh,
my
wow.
age,
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. But it was diabetes,
Oh, damn.
the Latino
Yeah.
diet, the lifestyle,
Mhm.
And I remember my grandfather, I didn't really remember them too much. I was so young,
Mhm.
but I remember he had to get both his legs amputated.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because of the diabetes and stuff, right? So
Yeah.
that kind of maybe taught me stuff like at a young age. And then, my father, it kind of showed him too, like he didn't want to go down that path, right?
Mhm.
And we thought we were eating healthy, but we still ate a lot of animal products and
Yeah,
cheese and all that, We made the Mexican food we ate as healthy as possible, right?
Yeah.
But then again, learning about true plant-based diet and veganism is like a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, you start seeing how like everything gets made and like
Yeah.
all the things that are really inside, especially nowadays. Like you really like all you got to do is just look online.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like I think before anybody eats any meat, they should be able to have to scan a little barcode, and it takes
Yeah.
them to a little video to see how that meat got there.
Yeah, definitely.
And they probably wouldn't they think twice, right?
Yeah.
Or seeing those documentaries, how they're being treated, basically how they're being killed.
Yeah, it's
slaughtered,
like
so.
especially hearing those sounds, like of them
Oh,
screaming for
gosh.
help.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
It's,
Yeah.
it's like
It's trauma.
very traumatizing.
Yeah. So speaking of that, I know you're an animal rights activist, right?
Mhm.
And did that come from veganism, or where'd that come from?
My best friend too.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right. So your best friend was a good influence.
Shout out
Yeah,
to your
very-
best friend.
Yeah. What's your best friend's name?
Sadly we're not friends anymore like
Oh,
that.
okay.
But like shout out to Jenny O.
Yeah.
She really helped
Hey,
me out
she
a
helped
lot.
you at a
Yeah.
time.
Definitely.
Everybody serves their purpose in your
Yeah,
life. You know what I mean?
And she was basically telling me one day about like that she was gonna go join a Cuba Truth in Atlanta.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, cool, shoot. It's like
What is it? Cuba?
Cuba Truth.
Cuba Truth? Okay.
Yeah, basically it's you hold a TV or a sign, and then during when you're holding the TV, all these documentaries are going passing through and stuff. So you hear the screams. People are walking through as you're like just holding. You can't talk or nothing.
That's
They're just
crazy.
holding these signs and these TVs. So people are just like stopping by, and like if people ask for questions or like they want to know more, we kind of confront them and be like, okay, this is what it's about. Have you ever seen this before?
Oh.
And if they say yes, no, we kind of take it from there.
Yeah. So it's like taking a picket sign to the next level.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like a TV
Pretty
playing.
creative.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
So like I wasn't there to join it. I was there to record her.
Oh, okay.
Like to
Document
be part of
it,
yeah,
yeah.
document that because that was like she wanted to become an activist. So I'm like, okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Let me help you out. And I started recording it, and then they're like, well, we need one more person. I like
you got sucked in.
Yeah,
You're
I
like,
was like,
I'm just here to record.
But like it really caught my attention too because I was like, I'm like, okay, I joined. I didn't know nothing of it. You know,
Yeah.
like I started hearing the video. Sorry, I couldn't watch it, so I started hearing those sounds. Like never left my mind.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah. So I ended up doing the video, and from there, like I ended up just like stepping forward into like doing more things for the animals.
And how long ago was this?
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Oh, so it's pretty recent.
Yeah, 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah.
Is that when you went vegan too?
No, I went. Yeah, no, 3 years ago is when I went vegan.
Okay, so first it started with going vegan.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then you kind of got invited to this thing, and you didn't know what was gonna happen.
Yeah, and then like I ended up like my whole life changed, especially because of the whole like street things of my past, and like I moved to California.
Okay.
And as soon as I moved to California, like you know, like in California, in the Central Valley, all you see is factory farms.
Right.
Like that's all you see.
Oh yeah.
And that's all
Harris
you
Ranch
smell.
too. Yeah.
Mhm.
It stinks.
On the 5. Yeah.
It
Is it the
stinks
5 or the
so bad.
99? Yeah.
I think the
Maybe the
99.
The 99.
Sure?
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I think so.
Whenever I drive to LA, I smell something
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
bad. I don't
Yeah.
know what it is.
You know, you drive. It just like
Yeah.
hits you in the face.
Yeah,
You're
just
like,
like,
what
whoa.
the heck
You
is
have the
that?
windows up and everything. You
Yeah.
can still smell it.
That's
that bad.
crazy.
Well, let me ask you this: since you went vegan, did you know what you were gonna eat, like as a beginner?
No, I started eating raw. So like most of the time,
Oh,
I'm like
shoot,
I
that's
started
not
looking
fun.
into things. Like at first, like I said, I was going vegan for the health.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up just eating like a lot of raw produce, like vegetables,
Mhm.
fruits. I started juicing. I ended up buying tofu
Yeah.
and thinking that I was like, oh, that's all I'm gonna eat. And then my friends started showing me how to cook food, and so I'm like, okay, she was more into her health, so they were making like alkaline food, and I
Wow.
was like pretty cool, like
Yeah.
getting sucked into that. It was like very cool, being able to like taste something that I used to eat and seeing it like made without the cruelty.
Right.
Mhm.
It was like it felt like very compassionate.
Yeah.
It's a guilt-free
Yeah.
food, right?
Guilt free, and you don't have to worry about the diseases or
Yeah, anything.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a good point, because I always like to make that point, because people think when they go vegan they're gonna lose the flavor or what they
Mhm.
eat. I mean, I just had you eat some Mexican birria tacos right
It's
before.
so good. It's
right?
so
Yeah,
good
yeah.
too. I
And
love
it's
it.
all vegan,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Shout out to Jenny and Amorilus vegan food. But yeah, I mean, you can have the same food you had before,
Definitely.
just without the cruelty, without the sickness,
Yeah, and all
you
that
know,
processed stuff on it.
Yeah,
Like
processed.
sometimes we don't even we never ask where our food's coming from or who
Mhm.
makes these things or
Yeah.
like what's going into our food. And then like like I said, I was going vegan first, so like that's what I started doing is start looking into these names
Mhm.
of these things that were in the back of the ingredients.
Mhm.
Sometimes you can't even pronounce them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you start looking these things up, and then you start looking up the side effects over time,
Yeah.
and you see what's really going on.
Yeah.
People are like having seizures, heart attacks, and things like that. It's because of these things that we're consuming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard back in the days people didn't have any allergies.
It's
It was
Yeah.
because there was no processed food.
Yeah. I mean, see, here's the thing about bad food and processed food and stuff like that. If you ate a steak and you got cancer the next day, nobody would do it, right?
Mhm.
If you, consumed dairy and you got heart disease the next day, no one would do it. If you smoked a cigarette and the next day you had lung cancer, nobody would do it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it takes time.
Mhm.
20, 30, 40 years, but then by then it's too late.
Shoot, like I think meat takes like around 3 to 6 weeks just to leave your like to digest
Yeah,
properly.
yeah.
So like imagine this: like people are eating meat every day, and they're not letting that meat process through their
Mhm.
body. So like
Mhm.
over time, people are gonna get like blood clots,
Mm-hmm.
like heart attacks, diabetes,
Right.
or these type of illnesses that they're like, oh man, like what's going on? It's like, do you know what's going on? Like really, like all that energy from those beings that are being trapped before they're being slaughtered, like you're consuming that into yourself.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So if they're ill, like you're gonna get ill yourself.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And a lot of times people just don't know. Like just me,
Mhm.
I didn't know, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now that I'm plant-based and Joe's plant-based and it's kind of like you really want to share with everybody. It's almost like you found the cure to like cancer,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, dude, you need to know about this. But then it's like people kind of they don't receive it as well.
Yeah,
what I mean?
and like I feel good. I feel like
Mhm.
I'm the youngest I've ever been, even though I'm my 30s now. But then I feel really young and strong
Yeah.
because of the diet and the lifestyle that I've changed about me. And I just want to share that with everyone too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's
Go ahead.
no, anyway.
No, but it's the same way for me. Like when I used to almost, I think I weighed like 300 pounds.
Oh wow.
So like when I first went vegan, I lost like almost 100 pounds.
Damn, congratulations, man.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a good feeling though,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So
Yeah.
like I shed all that, and then just like now being more active. Like I see my friends, like not talking down on my friends at all
Yeah.
because I love them. But like my old friends and stuff like that, sometimes like I'm just like, you can have a lot more energy
Yeah.
and do more things.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like you really take care of yourself. Sometimes I see my friends really sick, and I'm just like, oh, I know what's going on.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah, it's tough, man, because
Yeah.
you just want to help. But,
Yeah.
but if you don't come the right way, they'll they won't listen. They have to
Yeah.
be ready for it.
Yeah,
you know?
Well, it's good that you're being an example. You're leading by example, because eventually people will come to you like, "What did you do, Rob?
Yeah.
How'd you do it?"
Because like the one thing is like I never like pushing myself on people. You know, it's like I was like I said, my little brother went vegan because of me, and just being the example and just following through. You know, instead of like being a hypocrite and saying, you know, like telling, oh, don't do this when I'm the same person doing that. I'm like, nah, it's not cool.
Yeah, that's important.
So you're leading with compassion, which is basically what veganism is about. So
yeah, open heart.
So besides losing all that weight, was there any other cool things that happened to you after going vegan, like health wise or like body wise?
Yeah, like when I first went vegan, I started detoxifying myself. I started like juicing, so I started cleaning my blood cells.
Yeah.
I started cleansing my pineal gland.
Oh wow.
You know, taking all those heavy metals out of my my pineal gland and stuff like that, and out of my body. Like when I started cleansing my pineal gland, like something clicked in my mind, and I started reading about the subconscious and conscious mind. Like I said, I fell into like the whole thing with like being part of my environment of like when I lost my friend and everything in my arms, it really put me in a position where I feel like I was fucking up all the time. Like anything, I always had people on my back telling me, it's like, oh, I wish you would have died. So that put me in a negative mindset, and I was like, you know what, like maybe I'm not good for nothing.
Right.
You know, so like when I started reading the subconscious mind, it like something clicked. You know, like it's like like started looking life in a different perspective.
Wow.
You know, it's like there's like a hole. You know, like if you fall in a hole, like either you can dig out, you know, like or dig up or something, like just try to get out, or just try to jump to get out of that hole. But in my mind, like I seen the hole, and I just like I seen it like a piece of paper. Like if I drew it, like okay, there's a hole, but also if I turn it, it's a way out.
Oh wow.
I love that.
That's powerful.
So that's how I looked at
all
life.
Perspective.
Yeah, for the audience, whoever's watching this, you want to explain a little bit more about the pineal gland? Is that the third eye chakra?
Yeah, basically,
right?
is the.
Like how do you clean that?
I was basically like drinking juices and like creating my own juices and stuff like that. Basically looking into like what certain vegetable or fruit actually cleanse what part of your body. And then also like I will put iodine and kelp into my water.
Oh, okay.
So like that really helps out too.
Yeah. So you started to kind of research and
just basically looking into things.
Wow.
And it was pretty interesting because I was like, okay, cool. You know, it's like I never knew that. And so, like I also started looking into like how the human body works. And that right there like really put me in a different perspective. It was like, okay, cool. You know, it's like why is nobody teaching me this?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Like, why is school not
There's
telling
no
me?
money in you being healthy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's no money in you knowing how to heal yourself.
Yeah.
You know,
it's crazy because like after like learning how to heal that, like it opened up so many opportunities for me. Like like mentally, physically, and spiritually.
So like when your pineal gland opened up, you kind of became more woke, in other words.
Yeah, more aware.
Yeah, it's almost like you took off the dirt or the smudge, and you're like, oh shoot, I could see.
I wipe my what's it called, eye boogers off.
Yeah, the eye, when you wake up, right?
Your third eye boogers.
Yeah, third eye boogers. There you go. You guys heard it here first. Third eye boogers on the Bliss Seekers podcast, right?
Thank you for tuning in. That was the end of part 1. Part 2 comes out next Monday, 9 a.m. Please stay tuned.
Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so that YouTube will let you know when the next one comes out.